OpenAI just killed Sora after burning $15 million a day while making only $2.1 million in total revenue. No, that is not a typo. Look, a lot of products fail, but this is something entirely different. OpenAI officially shut down Sora on March 24th, pulling the plug on what was supposed to be their flagship AI video generation product after just 6 months of public availability. And when I say shut down, I mean everything. The standalone Sora app, all the APIs, all video generation features with ChatGPT gone. Users that built their entire workflows around this thing got zero transition period. Not good. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. The numbers tell a story that no one in Silicon Valley wants to talk about. Sora was burning through approximately $15 million per day in inference costs per day, whilst generating only $2.1 million in total lifetime revenue. Let that sink in. That is crazy numbers. I mean, come on, that's not just bad economics, that's catastrophic. We're talking about one of the most expensive failed product launches in tech history. Think about it for a second. $15 million a day times 180 days of operation. That's $2.7 billion in inference costs that generated just $2.1 million in revenue. That ratio would make even the most venture-backed startups blush. And honestly, this isn't just OpenAI. This is a massive signal about the economics of generative video. Despite being one of the most hyped AI product launches, remember those mind-blowing demos? The cutting-edge AI capabilities don't just automatically translate into viable products. The compute requirements for high-quality video generation are so astronomical that even OpenAI, with their massive war chest, couldn't make the math work. But here's the thing though, the Sora team isn't getting fired. They're pivoting into robotics under a new model called SPUD. Bill Peebles, who led Sora, is now building what he calls a system that deeply understands the world by learning to simulate arbitrary environments of high fidelity. Sam Altman told staff the SPUD will be ready in weeks. This suggests the pivot was planned long before they announced any Sora shutdown. This puts OpenAI in direct competition with Google DeepMind and Figure AI in the robotics space. The bet here is the world's smartest models are more valuable for robots than making TikTok videos. Honestly, this might be the smartest strategic decision that OpenAI has made all year. And this is where it gets really messy. Disney's $1 billion deal with OpenAI for Sora-powered content creation collapsed literally overnight. According to reports, Disney's tech team learned about the Sora pivot on Monday night, meaning they got virtually no advance warning their billion-dollar partnership was about to evaporate. That deal lasted 3 months. When a partnership worth 10 figures can disappear because the underlying product gets hacked, that's not just bad business, that's an enterprise trust crisis waiting to happen. Does anyone else find it completely crazy that Disney, arguably the most sophisticated media company in the world, got blindsided by this? The Wall Street Journal just published a brutal post-mortem calling Sora's output more AI slop than AI magic. Despite those enormous compute costs, Sora consistently struggled with temporal coherence, physics simulation, and producing content that met professional production standards. The quality gap between those incredible demos we all saw and real-world output at scale proved insurmountable. This reframes the entire failure. It wasn't just about the economics, the product generally just wasn't good enough. If OpenAI with unlimited resources couldn't solve the quality problem, what does that tell you about the fundamental readiness of AI video generation technology? Maybe we're all drinking a little too much of that hype at the minute. Now with the Sora shutdown freeing up massive compute capacity, OpenAI is reallocating everything towards coding and enterprise products, the business lines that are actually making money and showing product market fit. They're readying an IPO targeting Q4 2026 at near $1 trillion valuation. So this pivot from money-burning consumer products to profitable enterprise isn't just smart, it's financially necessary. The compute reallocation tells us where OpenAI sees its actual future, not in the creative consumer tools, but in enterprise software and developer infrastructure. This might be the most significant strategic pivot in OpenAI history since they went from non-profit to capped profit. Speaking of that IPO, OpenAI is targeting a Q4 2026 public offering at a near $1 trillion valuation. Coming off their record-breaking $110 billion funding round in February at $840 billion valuation, they position themselves as an enterprise AI company, not a consumer products company. The timing of the Sora shutdown, cleaning up the balance sheet ahead of going public, suggests that this is much more financial housekeeping decision than a technical one. But here's the question nobody's asking. Can the SPUD pivot and enterprise focus actually justify a $1 trillion valuation when the flagship consumer product specifically failed? That's what investors are about to find out. Now, the one thing that you need to know today. Everyone's covering the Sora shutdown as a product failure, but they're missing the real story here. This isn't about one product failing, it's about the fundamental economics of AI hitting reality at scale. Look at what just happened. OpenAI, the company with arguably the deepest pockets in AI, couldn't make video generation work economically. $15 million a day is compute cost. That is not sustainable at any price point for the consumers or even enterprises that would pay. And this is where it gets really wild. If OpenAI can't solve this problem, who actually can? If you haven't watched my AI Needs Nuclear video, I'll link that in the description below so you can check that one out on how maybe the solution may be found from nuclear. The Sora collapse is the canary in the coal mine for compute-intensive AI applications. We've been so focused on capabilities and what these models can do that we've ignored the brutal reality, which is the costs to actually do them at scale. Every AI company building resource-heavy applications should be looking at these numbers and ask themselves, what are we building? Is this the next breakthrough? And is it viable? But here's where it gets interesting. The pivot to robotics isn't random. World models that understand physics and spatial relationships, that's not just useful for robotics. That's the foundation of the next generation of AI that can actually interact with the physical world. OpenAI might have just accidentally stumbled into the most important AI research direction of the next decade while trying to clean up the financial disaster. The real signal here isn't that AI videos failed. It's that the companies that survive the next wave will be the ones that figure out a sustainable unit economics before they scale, not after. Bashy Dispatch, OpenAI kills Sora after burning $15 million a day. This is what happens when cutting edge meets brutal economics. Disney loses $1 billion deal overnight. Enterprise trust in AI vendors just took a massive hit there. And the Sora team pivots to robotics under Project Spud. What a name. Because sometimes the best strategy is admitting that you are solving the wrong problem. Mind blowing how fast things can change in the space. We're back tomorrow. What's moving next? Hit subscribe if you want to see the intelligence that matters delivered fast.